Welcome to Just Relationships, the show that offers you concrete ways to make your relationships better. Whether it's your boss, your spouse, your children, or your friends, the quality of your relationships in life directly affects how you feel about yourself and the success you achieve. Your host, Dr. Duffy Spencer, a psychotherapist, telecoach, author, and seminar leader, will interview top experts to help you learn to manage this essential part of your life. And now, here's your host, Dr. Duffy Spencer.
Greetings to you. Well, today we're going to talk about our relationship with ourselves, with our own physical health, mental health, emotional health, spiritual health. And if you listened to last week's show, then you know that this is going to be part 2 of a program on holistic health with Dr. Kyrin Dunston. Welcome back, Dr. Dunston.
Thank you so much, Dr. Duffy. I'm so happy to be here and share some more information with everybody.
Oh, so very happy to have you. And you were talking about that the root cause of so much disease is inflammation and hormonal imbalance. You were talking about nutraceutical, how important that is to have GNP certified nutraceuticals. You were talking about a particular kind of vitamin that is designed for health, that is much healthier than a lot of the others. And we were looking at ways to eat so that we can, if not completely eliminate toxins, at least greatly decrease them. We're looking at taking probiotics, introducing more good bacteria into our bodies so that we can have the good bacteria fight off the toxins. And for the probiotics, I just want to review, because this is so important for people, the 30 billion of, what was that, CPUs?
CFU, colony-forming units.
CFU, colony-forming units. And 30 billion.
Right. Most people need that many a day on a regular basis. And I usually recommend that they change brands. So every month, get a different brand with different strains.
Oh.
It's not the kind of thing you want to fix and forget. And this is something that's important in other areas for people to know, too, like what they eat. So
yes.
The body was designed to eat seasonally and locally so that the foods were rotated. But what's happened with our food supply is that we can eat whatever we want, whenever we want, wherever we want. And that means if we like coffee and yogurt for breakfast, we have coffee and yogurt every single day. And we overeat the same foods. And what that predisposes us to, it can predispose us to nutritional imbalances, but more importantly, it causes food sensitivities. So our body's immune system that's designed to protect us from outside invasion from bacteria and viruses and parasites and things like that also monitors our gastrointestinal system, because that's where the largest majority of pathogens come through. And it gives food a pass in general. But when it sees, if you eat blueberry yogurt every day and it sees blueberries and it sees yogurt, after a while it starts getting up in arms about seeing the same foods. Right. And then it can start attacking them. So variety is the spice of life for your gastrointestinal system. And so that's something they can do to decrease inflammation, which we talked about last week also.
Yes, so the holistic weight loss is based on a ketogenic diet, you're saying?
Right. So this is something everyone should really understand, because there's a lot of talk about keto, not keto, all these Whole30, paleo, all these different diets. There's so many out there. But if weight is an issue and you want to lose weight, what you need to understand is you will only ever lose weight on a ketogenic diet. by definition, when weight loss is occurring, you will be in this state called ketosis, and that's where your body is burning fat. It's opening the fat cells, taking the fat out, burning it for fuel, for energy, and then the byproduct of that is that you make these things called ketone bodies in your body, and you are in a state of what we call ketosis because you're making ketone bodies. And you can measure those ketones in your breath. They come out in your urine. They're in your blood, most easily measured in urine by a person at home. So that means if you are burning fat to lose weight, you will be in ketosis. So it's kind of, people get all excited about keto, not keto, all these others, but every diet that causes weight loss or fat loss is a ketogenic diet, yes.
So basically, is it 10% carbs, 20% protein, and 70% fat? Or is it recommend something else?
There are different types of ketogenic diets and different levels of the macronutrients. That's what you're describing as the macronutrient spread. And probably the highest fat, highest protein, lowest carb ketogenic diet is the Atkins style diet that was very popular years ago and is often still popular with some people. But you will have variety among ketogenic diets. And all ketogenic diets are not right for all people. So people who already have a cholesterol problem, already have some type of peripheral vascular or arteriosclerotic disease, probably the Atkins style, very high fat, high protein diet is not ideal. And also if you have gallbladder problems. But a lower fat program, and also, Atkins didn't really focus on quality of meats, so people would run into problems because, as we discussed last week, they were eating mostly corn-fed livestock. Right. So there wasn't really a stipulation for organic or grass-fed. So some of the newer ketogenic diets have lower fat, maybe even 20 or 30%, like the ones that I do, are very low fat, and they're usually higher quality fats, so plant-based fats, and
like avocado and olive oil.
Right. Exactly right. Your healthy, your cold pressed organic oils, your avocados, your nuts, and really on an ongoing basis, I do recommend. Most people are so fat phobic. We Americans,
yes.
we became so fat phobic back when low fat was in, and it really has held over. I talk to so many people who, when I see clients for initial intake, one of the things I do is a dietary review. What have you been eating? And people want to please the teacher, and so they say, oh, well, I have yogurt every morning, but it's no fat.
I know, it's ridiculous. And then high sugar. Usually they make up the flavor with sugar. Yes, it's
right. And so people need to understand that what they take out in fat is not bad. Fat is your friend. Your brain is made out of fat. So you're a fathead, and so you need to feed your fat head if you want it to be healthy.
Right.
And so I really help people to understand you want the high quality nuts and seeds, and plant-based fats. And you want the high quality protein also. And then you want the high-quality carbs. So, for instance, the SAD, Standard American Diet,
is sad.
Diet is really high in refined carbs. Like, there really isn't a need to have much bread at all. And yet, grains are highly inflammatory. And so, when you look at the functional medicine food pyramid versus the SAD pyramid, really grains that's a condiment.
Yes.
That you're going to have.
So what would the other percentages be? The carbs still 10%, or if fat is 20 to 30?
No. And actually, for a healthy ongoing diet, your carbs are, and it's individualized. And that's the other thing, is that I do not think that there is one diet that is right for everyone, for every season. Every person is actually, their dietary needs and requirements are going to change at different times in their life, and probably more often than you would think. So again, it's not fix it and forget it. It's not, for 10 years I've eaten this is what I eat. That is very actually unhealthy. So just like with exercise, Dr. Duffy, we've now discovered with the research that your body responds best to change in type and intensity of activity. And so your body craves variety in terms of exercise. So if someone's a runner and they always run, it's amazing how many people who are runners, and that's the only activity they get, that actually end up having health problems because of micronutrient deficiencies.
Wow.
And then they don't have the proper micronutrients for their body processes to run. And overuse injuries. So by cross training, so maybe you run one day and then you do the stair climber another day, and then you do a Zumba class another day, and then you also get your stretching in with your yoga, and you do some of the types of yoga that are deeper, longer stretches like yin or restorative yoga, because a lot of people neglect their flexibility training. And then you have your muscular training. So maybe it's not just lifting free weights in a gym, but that's why CrossFit is so popular, because they have people carry tires, and it stresses the muscles in a way that it really causes them to have to balance, and so it strengthens the muscles differently. So the body, science has now shown that the body craves variety with exercise. It craves variety with food. So I don't want to tell you on here, they need 40% carbs, and then 30% protein and 30% fat, because that's not going to be right for everybody. Does that make sense?
Sure, it makes sense. And I know that many Americans over-proteinize, and that we're looking at, say, 65 grams of protein for an average woman. Would you say? Because I personally don't want to over or under proteinize.
Right, and I think, again, it's very individual, so I'm a big fan of testing for basal metabolic rate and actually seeing what someone's macronutrient needs are with protein, fats, and carbs, and then giving them a custom prescription. And most of us do over-proteinize. I would say 65 grams is probably on the higher side, but I'm a little hesitant to give medical advice like that.
Right.
That's specific, and everybody listening know that you are a unique individual and you have uniquely individual needs, and that's why it's always best to work with someone. And like I always say, there's so much, we're living in the age of information. There's a proliferation of information on the internet, but we also have a lack of wisdom, because people will grasp onto something that they read about on the internet and do it, and it may work, and that's awesome if it does, but it might not. And really, like I say, your health is your most important asset. And so it really behooves you to invest in that asset, just like you wouldn't necessarily read on the internet how to fix your brakes on your car and then go do it yourself. You might want to get a mechanic to do it. I kind of think it's the same advice for your body.
So how can people access you, Kyrin Dunston, Dr. Kyrin Dunston?
Oh, they can find me on my website, KyrinDunstonMD.com, and that's spelled KYRINDUNSTON, and then MD as in medical.com.
Kyrin Dunston, KyrinDunstonMD.com. And where is your practice? I know it's all over the
do.
world now. Yeah.
Right, I do. So my group programs are virtual, and I actually have 2 different group programs. And I do a lot of one-on-one consultations, and I do most of that virtually. I am licensed in 3 states, Texas, California, and Georgia. So if people live in those states, they actually don't need to see me in person ever, but I actually do like to see them at least once in person to establish that personal relationship.
Yes.
And then I do have people who will come from other states where I'm not licensed to see me in the office in Atlanta one time so that I can prescribe and order tests for them if they live in a state in which I'm not licensed.
Right. So if people, short of that, first of all, I want you to explain, please, about how people can access you virtually for a lot less money than seeing you in person as part of a group program. And you call it Quantum Keto Bootcamp.
Correct. So I do launch my Quantum Keto Bootcamp a few times a year, and it's for people who, yes, they may want to lose weight, hence the keto, but also most people go up several points on the scale with their energy level in this program and start to reverse diabetes and high blood pressure. I have lots of people after this program who start coming off of their medications. Their doctor takes them off of their medications because this addresses the root causes of all disease, which we talked about last week, which are hormone imbalance, toxicity, nutritional deficiency. And I also address, which you'll love, Dr. Duffy, mental and emotional and spiritual health, because I find that a lot of people, once they know what to do, and I give people the tools to use and tell them how to do this and take them through the program, they sometimes have trouble using the tools or use them for a while and then stop. And so we really have to look at what are your belief systems that are stopping you from doing this. And so I have a huge component in this program that really is focused on looking at your mental, emotional, spiritual health and balance, and how it either supports you in healing and achieving optimal health or hinders you, because just like you have toxicity in the physical body, Dr. Duffy, I'm sure you know this, you have toxicity in the mental, emotional body as well.
Absolutely.
And so I help people not only detoxify the physical body, but look at what thoughts they're thinking that are toxic. People, places, things, and thoughts. And how do you start changing those or getting rid of them? And then looking at, not only do you need nutritional support in the form of macro and micronutrients in your physical body, but you also need nutritional support for your mental, emotional, spiritual body. So how do you get that into your life? How do you get that support? How do you get the intellectual stimulation you need, the emotional support that you need? So we cover all of this.
Yes, I think that the group is extraordinarily powerful, because people who eat holistically and eat organic foods and fruits and vegetables and wild fish and grass-fed beef have a very hard time. They are in the minority. And when everyone else is eating the standard American diet and everyone else is eating all kinds of cakes and desserts and drinking alcohol, a lot of alcohol, a person can feel very alone.
Yes, it is very challenging. I know when I first started eating differently, going gluten and dairy free, and changing how I ate, it was somewhat isolating, and you need support to do this. And that's why I love the power of the group, because you have people from all over the country doing this. And I've had people message each other and support each other in ways that once I really saw the power of the group, it's really my preferred way for people to interact with me, because when I work with you one-on-one, you don't have the support of the group. And it does take sometimes a stronger person, and I have to offer more support in a one-on-one situation. And that's why I love for my people to be in the group, because then they see you're not alone. You're not the only one doing this. You do have other people, and you really create this culture and community around valuing and promoting and prospering this most important asset of your life.
So people would go to your website, Kyrin Dunston, MD, KYRINDUNSTON, and sign up for, what would it be, kind of a weekly gathering? How does it work, actually?
Oh, well, what they would want to do is get on my email list, because I only launch the program certain times during the year. So it's administered live with me. So I meet with everybody at least once a week and have interaction daily with people. So it's administered live. I do it with you as you go through, and so you want to get on my email list on my website. You can also check out my podcast there, Her Brilliant Health Radio, and I have other resources. And you want to get on my list, because when I launch the course, you will then be informed when it's going to happen.
So when you get off this radio broadcast and you want to really look at your holistic health and holistic weight loss, which would be permanent weight loss, because you're looking at all kinds of lifestyle differences, Dr. Dunston. And I'm wondering about lectins. What is your take on lectins?
Yes, there's a lot of controversy about the lectins that are contained in beans and legumes, and how they can be inflammatory in the gastrointestinal tract. And I think at this point it's opinion. Now, for autoimmune disease, I think it's pretty clear that you do need to get rid of those. But I don't think that the average person needs to eliminate them from their diet. I don't think that most people, unless you are suffering with autoimmune issues, I have found that a lot of people can and do address their weight and other health issues, including legumes and beans, in their diet. And so I don't usually recommend that they remove those unless they have to, unless they've got an autoimmune problem, like I said. It's a great source of vegetable protein, beans and legumes. So it's really, when you remove them, then you are limiting the scope. So I recommend only doing it when necessary.
And it is said that if you pressure cook them, you destroy most of the lectins anyway for the beans.
Yes.
So,
and also you can also add some seaweeds, kombu type seaweeds that you get, the large sea kelp. And if you cook that also when you pressure cook it, you can help to eliminate a lot of those.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful information. Usually the nightshades are what they say, the eggplant, the tomato, peppers, white potato are not good for people.
Right, so they can be inflammatory as well, so particularly for people who are having arthritis. And that's something that can be eliminated initially. Unfortunately, tomatoes are in that group as well.
Yes.
That can be very inflammatory, which makes a lot of people upset.
I love tomatoes, but I've just recently tried going off them for that reason. I have Hashimotos, which is the thyroiditis. And
right.
So that's one thing. Yes. But I think...
Right,
yeah.
And again, I think that it's so important for people to get in contact and start a relationship with a functionally trained holistically trained, integratively trained physician who can help guide them. Because if you just go based on the information on the internet, you'll be left with very little to eat.
Yes,
and it doesn't mean that you personally need to eliminate all of these things. You might be able to eat tomatoes and green peppers. You might be able to eat, but if you eliminate gluten, dairy, all the nightshades, lectins, it can be so restrictive that most people are going to say, forget it, I'm not doing it.
You're not going to do it. So you would advise people to if they can't work with you for whatever reason, or to look for a functional or an integrative doctor, MD?
Right. MD or ND, naturopathic doctors are excellent.
Okay.
And basically if people are familiar with naturopathic medicine, I say that I'm an MD who's also trained as an ND.
Wow.
So NDs are very helpful. Now, they are not able to typically prescribe medications if needed, which an MD can.
Right.
But they can order tests and do all kinds of things. So I've worked with some terrific naturopathic doctors.
Wow. So you had originally entitled your virtual group the Bikini something? It was Bikini...
Right. So I had written a book, The Bikini, Cracking the Bikini Code, 6 Secrets to Permanent Weight Loss Success. And then I thought with the book, people could DIY at home. But what I realized, people didn't need just words on a page. What they needed was a relationship with a practitioner like me who could help them through it. So I started the virtual program, and then I quickly realized it's way more than weight. People were regaining energy, getting off their diabetes and high blood pressure meds, getting better. And so I've changed it to Quantum Keto because it is ketotic and you do lose weight, which we've talked about why weight loss is ketotic. But it's quantum because you are really addressing all these other issues. So it's not just about weight loss. People get 9 different nutraceutical supplements in this program, and they get an eating plan. I tell them how to eat, what to eat, and they get these very high-grade physician-formulated supplements that help them to detoxify, get their nutrition in balance their hormones. So it's a quantum leap in terms of addressing the root causes of their health dysfunction, whatever that is.
That's wonderful.
If they're having psoriasis and skin problems,
And we do have to close. Dr. Kyrin Dunston, thank you so much. Kyrin Dunston, MD.com. Look and see lots of wonderful information. I can't thank you enough, Dr. Kyrin Dunston. And I look forward to being on your radio show.
Yes, I'd love to have you. Thank you.
And this is Dr. Duffy Spencer saying goodbye for now and wishing you great relationships.